Okay, so we're just going to wrap up, and Ben's going to run through just very briefly on the evaluation. And this is kind of our equivalent of a BuzzFeed list of 10 reasons why you think you should do this. It's kind of, I guess pulls against a lot of things we've been talking about. So, starting right where we started from with this evidence, just in terms of research and evidence, this is unusually clear in terms of the picture of poor practice and poor deployment has a negative impact, and clearly, as you've seen through the interventions, the work we've been doing something better, doing something different has a positive impact on attainment. That's, to me, makes the status quo isn't an option, especially when you've got such a massive resource in the system that can do that. And it is unusual as an issue, this, that we're not, the answer is lots and lots of more resource. It's quite unusual. I'm not saying there's not more money needed in relation to this if you're extending contracts, extending hours, but generally, the schools that have been through this will tell you actually the thing that really matters is the attention, the focus, the thinking, the reframing, that's really what makes a difference. And if we are spending that much money on schools, then we need to find it, and it's about unlocking that, then just having the resource there is a waste of money, essentially. So we need to do something with that. On a more kind of, that sounds a bit hard-nosed, one of the things that we always see, in these evaluations that we've done, all those 6 I mentioned, we always do a process evaluation with interviews and conversations with TAs about what they felt about it. And every single, you can read them, every single one reports TAs feeling more professional, more empowered. They feel as though they've been given more responsibility and the tools to meet that responsibility. And just, things like, say, oral language, they become the specialist. They'll become a real specialist on oral language in the school, work with Maggie Snowden, etc., etc. So consistently reporting feeling more professional and more empowered in their role. Likewise, teachers feeling more supported and integrated and supported on all sorts of different dimensions. Can't ever get too carried away, but when you'll know this, when you see this working really well, this sort of integrated, well-coordinated dance in the classroom, it just jumps out at you. It's quite magical, dynamically responding to the needs of pupils in real time as that's going on in the classroom, really fluid. One of the things that you regularly hear when you go in is it's hard to tell who was the teacher and who was the TA. That's a consistent sort of thing that comes back from that. And there's just something about that kind of, like a well-coordinated dance where everyone knows what they're doing. We would say this is instead of getting more and more and more TAs, a better investment of the pupil premium funds would be to pump that into training for teachers and TAs and everyone around thinking about by the time to make the change of the existing workforce rather than getting lots more TAs. And we're reasonably fortunate. When we started this work, all we had was a guidance report. Rob has more, but now, 2 years down the line, there are something like 12 resources that we've got. But some of them we've got today, we're aware of just overwhelming you by throwing all this in one kind of go. So I think next time we come back, we'll run through those in more of a kind of structured way. So what's to be used where, and there are more. I think the team here. There's also other things that might come. But there's more stuff, basically, as I say, Rob takes from the heavy lifting of doing this kind of work. One of them, which we saw a rough cut-off the other day, there's this, we've commissioned the TAS to work with us to do an online interactive course, which does this all. It runs through all the modules, all the stuff we've been talking, we've got videos, there's a big case study in the school in Sheffield that Rob mentioned, interviews. It's really rich, and then interwoven through that are questions and tasks and exercises, all the same stuff, all these exercises we've got, and that will be available next time we meet. And the TS have made the first 1,000 versions of that free. Well, there are 1 million members on the TS website, so if you want to, we can work with, we can do it on an opt-out thing if you want, and just grab them all. Like we can grab all those spaces and just get them, and then you can go back and you can share it with staff, and you've got other things that you can, if you want to listen to us rattle on again, you can. So there's resources, and this is we need to move these. They're really damp squib to end on, but this is consistent with the SEND codes of practice, and we are seeing increasingly schools report that in their Ofsted frameworks and their Ofsted inspections that one of the things that they commented on was how good their TA deployment was on that. So I think Ofsted are very aware of this work we've been doing, and it's not written into the framework in any sense, really. But we do know that that is feeding. But that's not the reason we're going to do that. If it was all about what Ofsted wanted, then it would be a bit depressing, wouldn't it? Okay. Between now and we meet again, have we got the audit, at least the staff survey and the RAG, but there's other things you can do. Finish off that vision exercises, get other people involved in it, and then when we come back in October, we're going to look at again, we'll come back to the evidence, we'll revisit. So if you've done the audit, we can all revisit it. It's going to be more interactive. It's going to be quite hard in a venue like this, but we'll do it. And we'll come, but look back, increasingly it's going to be less about the evidence and more about you. So it'll be more about your school, looking at the recommendations in the perspective of changing practice, revisit some of these very legitimate barriers to making changes around changing hours and contracts and putting in training schedules and things like that. We've got a couple of great schools who will come along. They won't tell you how great they were, they'll tell you all about the process of running through making changes. And so we're going to bring some more schools into it. And we can start moving then into starting thinking about planning and structuring and setting out a programme of work. And as I said right at the start, really that's when the work begins between yourselves and the Vanessa and James and the cluster leads and the school leads, and that's really when, so it's really, that's actually when the change starts happening on the back of that. So thank you very much. It really is. We are really excited by working with you on this, and hopefully lots of other issues. We've got guidance reports coming out on primary literacy, numeracy. We can, whatever you want to do, we can do it.